words. It's fantastic. This is a bit of an incline here. Let's make short work of it. Often goes through my head, is it best to sort of burst these hills, get over quickly, or take it steady? You know, which is the most efficient way of doing it? I think it's sort of get up quick and then have a quick rest and then carry on. But then again, it might be better exercise to do it slowly. Not sure. Depends what you're doing, I suppose. If you're fleeing, but then it depends if if you're going to be fleeing for some time, you're going to need the stamina, so that burst might just cripple you. It's complex stuff, isn't it? I'll figure it out. Massive mushrooms, a lot of them been smashed, I reckon, by the animals. I doubt there's a space of, mushroom vandalism going on up the hills. Seems incredibly unlikely, but there's another smashed one there. I love this bit. Been here a few times. I think I took shelter here when it rained actually once, before the leaves came off with autumn. Yeah, look, there's Bob. Let's go and say hi to Bob. Hey Bob, we missed you, man. How you been? Oh, not bad. What's been happening? Not much. How's Brenda? Yeah, she alright. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you too, Bob. Hang in there, yeah? Speak soon. All these tiny little microcosms, just look in one little area and you find such diversity of life. And an old human balloon, as you also manage to find evidence of humans everywhere as well, it seems. You can see the constant cycle of life and death. There's things dying, there's things living, just all together. Everything is being eaten. It's like nature is one gigantic restaurant, really, isn't it? What say you? Another little microcosm down here, look. You don't see quite so many insects around at this time of year, which is sad. But they're like me, they prefer the sunshine. God, that's a particularly twisted old piece of tree there, isn't it? Look at that. And people say there's no intelligence in any of this. They just say it's all random mutations and mechanical, deterministic processes. I say nay to that. I'm sure you'll realise if you listen to my endless waffling. It's one of the reasons I did this was really to sort of protect my friends and family from the endless waffle, because I mean, even when I was a kid, it's like, oh Matt, please shut up, will you? And I was like, there was one time I think I got upset. I said, I just can't. I used to have a northern accent as a kid, and I still haven't really been able to stop. Most of it's just irrelevant nonsense, but I think occasionally some insights. My job is generally as an analyst. I'm actually in between contracts at the moment, which feels pretty good actually. It was a slightly unexpected departure, but contracting's tricky business. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that work. We did some really interesting stuff. I did some models that predicted the volume of patients coming through the urgent treatment centre on a daily basis, and some days it was exactly spot on. I've got a little column that says difference between prediction and the real world, and there were quite a few zeros in there, quite a few ones. So I introduced a kind of performance rating system for the algorithm itself, right? And for some reason it was really, really bad at predicting Mondays, right? And we know we get spikes on Mondays, and so I tried to overemphasize or increase the weighting of the sort of weekly distribution, because there was such an obvious curve. Each week is really high on Mondays and it slows down towards Sunday. No one wants to go to A&E on the weekend, right? So we had this eminently predictable model, but my aggregates were so good with the model accuracy, it's okay that it's sort of we kind of just accounted for it for Mondays in the real world, and there's the on the ground intuition plus the science of all this data analysis, and we eventually sort of met in the middle, and they turned their performance around completely and utterly. So I'd like to think that mathematics played a role in actually improving patient care at that trust. So I'm very satisfied with that, because the we had an argument with the commissioners as well, because my model was suggesting they were going to have something like 98,500 for this financial year, and we're absolutely on target to get that. The commissioners saying no, we reckon it's going to be 95. But my model, which factored in about 3.5, 4 years worth of history, because of course COVID mucked it all up. It created this massive hole in our data for the last few years, and so I had to kind of account for that as well. Obviously, some of the dynamics, like seasonal, weekly, the weekly curve that I mentioned, that would still sort of play out, even in a sort of COVID scenario. So some of those patterns were still worth using to train the model, but obviously the aggregates and volumes were completely off. So yeah, that introduced some complexity. A hell of a lot of this stuff is about interpreting the data that you currently have and knowing how to use it. We were starting to look into using maybe sort of case-based reasoning, which is like a multivariate sort of methodology where you take numerical values, categorical values, you turn them into numbers, represent them in n-dimensional space, and then you can do things like clustering and what's called k-nearest neighbor analysis, where you say, well, here's like a new case, right? So the new case would be a particular day and what we're expecting. So then pass in all the variables we know about that day, like what day of the week is it, what month is it, what week of the year is it, all these different ways of categorizing it. And then we could get into morning and afternoon and sort of 24. Because I was actually developing a model that did the 24-hour predictions, but I couldn't get it working. The aggregates were good, but yeah, the hourly distribution was really not going well. But anyway, that was fun. So I've got a bit of time on my hands. I've got the Hillosophy thing this evening, and I've got time to walk up here. A lot more than before, and it's just a gift. I feel so grateful that we have all this here. Anyway, expect more from the hill. Take care, bye.